The Riddle of the Earth, Chapter 1, The Weather and Earthquakes, Atmospheric Disturbances. Few persons realize, perhaps, how absolutely dependent are all forms of life upon the incidence of weather. Give us too much air and we experience raging storms and hurricanes which destroy the crops and cause misery and destitution to millions. Give us too little air and animals and plants languish or die. Drought is experienced with its attendant ills, and unless fresh air cleanses the foetid atmosphere, there results suffocation and loss of life. Therefore, the problem of the cause of our atmosphere, its eccentricities and peculiarities, the production of great or blazing heat waves, and the apparent lack of any systematic explanation of the reason of depressions or anticyclones, is one of paramount importance. We know that air is composed of various gases, mainly nitrogen and oxygen, and that if we are taken out of our element we die. What we do not know is where the air comes from, forming as it does a sort of cushion between the world and outer space. It must be evident that our air or atmosphere requires frequent renovation and recruitment. We cannot suppose that during the myriads of years before and since individual existence first began on this earth, the atmosphere has remained a stable force, for the merest reflection must show it to be an impossibility, and it must be renewed on many occasions. Indeed, everybody who gives the question any thought must recognize that the incidence of great gales and tempests, when the elements wage furious war together, presupposes the introduction of new atmospheric forces in some manner as yet unaccounted for by any method of scientific research. The idea that rain is caused by the absorption of moisture drawn from the oceans and seas attracted by the sun's rays is one lacking scientific proof. If such were the case, the natural inference would be that rain clouds would be regularly formed and would fall incessantly like a waterfall, and on such a theory the tropics, where the heat and consequently any attraction is greatest, should experience the most consistent and continuous rainfall. Whereas we know that except for the rainy season, the tropical and subtropical belts of the earth are rainless, as a general rule, and in some parts, as in Egypt and Peru, without rain always. It is evident that another reason must be sought to explain the incidence of weather conditions. Meteorologists teach that solar radiation is directly or indirectly responsible for most of our weather variations, because they assume that this radiation, together with the Earth's rotation, is the cause of practically the whole of our atmospheric circulation, and the phenomena of cyclones and anticyclones, winds and storms resulting therefrom. It does not explain the facts at all, for the sun's rays are constant and varying except in so far as big sunspots may temporarily affect radiation. But there are periods when during a maximum of sunspots the weather is steady and settled, and there are other occasions when sunspots are at a minimum and the weather has been marked by a succession of great storms. Whatever effect sunspots may or may not exert upon the sun's radiation, it cannot justly be said that they go the first step towards solving the problem. It must appear, with due respect, that meteorologists are chasing a chimera. The weather reflecting atmospheric conditions is, it can be shown, only a part of meteorology closely interconnected with earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. That is to say, when we have solved the true causes of both earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, which are in their turn the effect of certain unknown causes, the mystery of the Earth's atmosphere, storms, rains and depressions will be solved also.